Hey traders, welcome to another edition of the Daily Update or Crypto Lab with Alex. Can somebody please confirm that audio and visual is fine? It will signal that everything is functioning properly. So we can continue, and as usual we're going to go and look a little bit more of a macro scene today, just to see what is going on in the liquidity conditions. And then of course we're going to switch and look Bitcoin and Ether chart, and as well total crypto market cap to see what's going on there. Thank you, Eva, thank you on the response. You can leave your comments and requests as regards of the charts in the chat box, so I will refer to them after the presentation is done. So let's start. Hi Anne, hi Andrew, hi Gencho, happy Thanksgiving, who is celebrating. So the markets are closed, and I guess tomorrow it will be not more of a, so it's a kind of a joint weekend thing, so until Monday we will not see any particular changes, I think, and nevertheless guys, we are entering into the period which is a pre-Christmas time, so until 15th of December usually. I've been almost 20 years on market, so every year it's pretty much the same, so you can expect some of the developments until 15th of December, and then the things are starting to slow down considerably. And then we have a Christmas, New Year, and you can expect volatility, at least some type of that, to come back around 15th of January. So we're going to have a kind of a larger pause. Although we have a couple of things which is going to come in between. We have, as you can see on the screen, Fed meeting is on 14th of December. So CPI, the next CPI is on 13th of December. As you know, the last one came lower than expected. From 7.9 it dropped to 7.7, which was in line with our hypothesis that the CPI will drop and make a pause in hiking. So Jerome Powell already announced that the pace of hiking will slow down in regards to increments of the interest rate increases. So they might go 25, 50 basis rather than 75 basis points. So the next meeting is predicting to go from 375 to 4 range up to 425 to 450. So 50 basis points increase, probability is 80.6%, 75 basis points is 20%. So I think we're going to stay in this bracket here. And if we look 1st of February, we are still now moving towards the very smaller increases. So let's presume we're going to go 50 basis points on the 1st February. Now another 50 basis point move is 51.6%. This can drop significantly if the CPI continues to go lower. We will see the print on 13th of December. And the 38.2% probability is 25 basis points. So it's obvious that the market is pricing this slowdown in increments, and potentially we are going to stop or make a pause in this area from 450 to 5. So let's see what happens. So let's see what's going on the US 10-year yield. We have been tracking that for some time now. As you can see, we are making a pause, which we were looking for in some type of a fourth wave pullback. My range of the probable resistance levels stay between 3.1 and 5.3, as you can see here on this chart. Although I do think that this is just the first 5 waves on the upside, so I don't think, looking the current developments, that we are actually going to pivot in a sense that we're going to see a larger deflationary cycle to the downside back to zero will renew itself. So I do view this as a first 5-wave move on the upside, and then we're going to have a couple of years pause while this B wave is actually starts to develop in some pattern or in some form, and then we're going to go upside in a C wave, which might bring us higher than this couple of resistance levels, but let's go one wave at a time. So looking at the current situation, I do think we are in some type of potential wave 3 ends, wave 4 and wave 5, so a couple of more months of a potential move on the upside, but that will be in the already priced in range. So I do see here potential of rates continuing lower a little bit more for the next couple of weeks, and then reversing higher for one more high, and then around February, March, I think that the risk assets, including cryptos, might continue to move on the upside, while this pause in the rates will actually materialize itself, and it will last 1 to 2 years while we actually complete this B wave to the downside. So the rate outlook, as we were looking for the last couple of months, is actually going as I would say as predicted. We had to change a couple of wave structures here, but I think this is something which will work out until we get this B wave pullback in one form or the other. So B waves also can be some type of a triangulation, so we can have a couple of years sideways in rates, especially if the situation in the Russia-Ukraine conflict kind of resume itself or gets in the direction of a potential negotiation around February, March next year, which we hear some rumors already. So that will probably produce some type of a back and forth, rates going up and down, kind of consolidating in some type of a triangle, lasting a little bit longer, and then we could see a final pop-up on the upside in the next post this correction, a few years on the upside. So definitely looking at this chart, I do think that the risk assets will find a chance to rally further on the upside, since after the completed 5-wave cycle, we can expect either a bigger consolidation or a more directional ABC pullback to the downside. First obvious support will be back to 1.3, 1.5 in some type of ABC movement if we don't trace out something more of a sideways fashion. So this will be a more directional pullback, and it will last a little bit less time than if we have something more complex, or if we have a triangulation in a B wave place. So anyhow, my focus with our members are actually what is going to happen in this next couple of months. So my targets, as the time is concerned, is around February, March, April, that we are going to see the highs, and that will be the end of this cycle where this pause of the next couple of years might begin. If we pair that with the dollar index, so dollar has been moving sharply on the downside. Obviously a 5-wave move this is a part of a larger flat, and the dollar will collapse in the next couple of years, or this is just the beginning of a new dollar cycle. We still don't know that yet. That depends how the couple of macro things will develop. If we pass this orange line here, there is only one option left for the higher levels for the dollar index, and that is a flat. So it means that it will be some type of a 335, and then we go one more move on the upside and then actually reverse. So we have to observe how the pullback, in which type of the pullback when it comes, it will form. The ending diagonal possibility is still alive, because to invalidate the expanding ending diagonal, you have to pass below the wave to lows, which will be around 105.76. We are trading at 105.83, so it's not far. And then the only option, if we don't want to look immediate breakdown on a dollar on the downside, will be some type of a pullback in ABC, which will be basically 1, 2 down in 3, 4 and 5, and then B wave and then C wave on the downside. So definitely I do think that we are also in the zone of the dollar reversal to the downside, which will also help and alleviate some of the EEM markets problems, especially with these higher rates in dollars. So dollar is almost a funding currency of the 70% of the EEM markets, and that always when you have a higher dollar, higher interest rates, that causes problems in the economy of the emerging markets. So in that respect, some alleviation of the dollar price and the interest rate will definitely make some type of a small economic boom, in a sense that it will bring corporate profits up, and that will reflect on all other chain in economy. So dollar is pretty important, and definitely the higher levels of a dollar maybe suit United States currently, but for the rest of the world it is not a very fortunate event. So according to this chart in rates and looking the interest rate differentials and a couple of other things, I do think the dollar is in the terminal phase. If it is not already started to the downside, it will start very soon in the next couple of weeks. Either while we have a three-way pullback here after a five-way move, or we have a final push up in this expanding ending diagonal on the upside. The lower dollar might help also risky assets class, and as well crypto markets, as the correlation, at least from here, was relatively good. So just to clarify one thing, the before COVID crisis, dollar and Bitcoin did not have such a good positive correlation, in a sense they follow inversely each other, while 2008 crisis actually spurred a move up in the US dollar. Bitcoin was moving on the upside from 2010. There is some resemblances of the inverse correlation in this period, but the more tighter correlation, which you can call somehow the real inverse correlation in some coefficient, has started here, where actually we had a move up in Bitcoin, and then when the dollar started to move on the upside, Bitcoin started to move to the downside. So here you can find 69K in some around November, and the start of the US dollar move on the upside. So the correlation is better functioning from this COVID start and Fed swap lines and slashing rates to zero than it was functioning for the last 10 years, if you look the correlation coefficient. So in that respect, I do think lower dollar might help also Bitcoin and Ether. So if we look the total crypto market cap, we had posted a new low in this FTX scandal, which has infected many other crypto spaces from different levels. So we are seeing the problems in the couple of middle range exchanges in the world. Also some of the crypto companies are bankrupt. Miners are mostly leaving their equipment. Only the biggest, I think, will survive. Definitely we are seeing this as a final sentiment confirmation that potentially we might have a bottoming process in place. We don't have a pattern confirmation, and that I have discussed pretty in large term with our members. Either we are done here, so we can place this as a flat and a 5-wave here, but we don't have a confirmation, or most likely we are in some type of an ending diagonal, and we're going to spend a couple of more weeks up to January, February in this back and forth until this ending diagonal is actually done. So wave count invalidation on a crypto market cap comes around 396 billion, so it's relatively far. We are trading at 784 billion, so some type of a ending diagonal in contracting manner or a contracting form will actually clarify the picture where the potential bottom might be, and the reactionary move on the upside will happen. So if we switch to the Bitcoin and look, it's practically the same chart. So if I look this from the perspective of the potential trend continuation on the upside, I do stress always in every crypto lab, especially for the lovers of the Elliott Wave methodology, the rule is very clear. If we break the wave 1 highs and enter the territory of the wave 2 or the wave 1, depends how you want to structure the wording, which comes around 13,860, that will be the wave count invalidation, and then the immediate bullish recovery towards new highs will be nullified, which means that most likely we are going to enter into a new let's say bearish market with a bullish reversal, temporary bullish reversal on the Bitcoin. I'm going to show you that on a larger time frame. So let's look how is the picture on these larger time frames. I have a couple of charts here. I do go back and forth looking the different options and measurements. So one of the options, if we break these wave count invalidation levels, will be that this is actually a first 5-wave move on the downside. We're going to see an ABC pullback in a B wave, and then we're going to go down, and the usual support, if you look for many Elliott Wave practitioners, and that is established by also experience and statistics, will be the previous wave 4 lows. This is the previous wave 4 low, so that will be the most obvious support levels, which comes between 3,000 and 5,000 in a Bitcoin. So that will actually touch the previous lows achieved at the end of 2019, and that will be pretty much sizably the biggest drop that we have experienced. For now, the current drop is around 80%, which is in line with all of these drops before, where we had the pullbacks in the Bitcoin. I'm still gonna keep this as a ending diagonal, even if we break this wave count invalidations levels. But if we do that, then the ABC on the upside or a pullback will be the most viable solution, retracing 50, 61.8 or 78.6 Fibonacci retracements from this fall, and then after this pullback we might make the same equal measurement move, as we call it, a measured move to the downside, which might actually come between, let's say, 3 and 6K to the downside. So this will be the region that I will look. On the contrary, on the bullish side, so I do consider this to actually find its lows around 14K. So without this wave count invalidation, and then depends on the market response. And if the Bitcoin starts and trace out a very sharp 5-wave move on the upside here in the smaller time frames, that will actually be a very nice indicative that we are actually at the potential signature of longer term lows, and that we might continue to follow this further on the upside towards the new highs. So I think that the next couple of months in that respect will be very crucial in the developments of the Bitcoin. Ending diagonals are pretty, let's say, clear patterns. They should have 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down. There is some relation between these waves inside. So the wave 1 and wave 3 has a specific measurement. I will not go into that. But one of the things that one of our members pointed out to me, we did see some type of RSI divergence, but that is not something which I will look as a primary sign. This is more of a secondary signs that I look. This divergence actually can break this and come to new lows. So it is still not a viable, sustainable divergence that you can see. We have posted a new low, but it's a higher low than from the beginning, and here we have a lower low than the previous one, and that what we call divergence, which is one of the first signs of a potential a reversal point. So I know that situation in crypto is terrible. The sentiment is worse than it can be, but for me this sentiment is a first sign, and I do need a pattern confirmation that actually to prove me that this sentiment is actually is valid as the lowest point probable in the price of the Bitcoin, and then potential continuation towards these higher levels. I don't know which one. If this happens, probably we will look for some of these two targets. One question that I had from my members is that how the sentiment turns. So I can explain that in a bit more of a substance. So sentiment, as you have it here, is the worst possible one. The sentiment turnover, or how the sentiment actually goes now to the bullish side, it's a gradual process. It can never happen at once. So first we're going to come to some neutrality, which means that the price might increase a bit, and then we might see some positive news regarding cryptos, maybe some regulations, maybe some new players. We will see different things that can be, and then when if we come to this neutrality, from neutrality, especially if we see this pause in rates, Bitcoin and Ether and probably some other cryptos might start to move on the upside, and usually retail space is the last to acknowledge that. So if you have a 5-wave move, usually some around here or here, the retail will be aware and actually will be jumping, will be happy to jump in, not to miss the next bull run, but that bull run will complete much sooner than they think, because in this case the retail is really a very small amount of retail have stayed if you look the on-chain analysis. And also inflationary pressures do not allow people to spend some additional income to buy different assets classes. They're usually going to spend that on increased cost of life. Most of the retail is decimated through this fall. We can say that our membership, almost everybody has been kept on a safe side, so we are ready to jump in on this couple of probable things. So definitely I think the longs are ahead of us. I will just monitor what is going on here. So either in the ABC pullback, as I explained, or a first 5 waves. And there is a certain things how you can recognize that. Many of you will question, okay, how I will know if this is just a ABC or it's going to trace out a full 5-way swing on the upside. First condition is that we don't invalidate these levels here. And if we start to move on the upside before that, there is a certain notions which I'm not going to go into today, how you can recognize a couple of these developments which might give a little bit details of how they will develop. So you can have a probability of recognition in which further pattern that will develop. Okay, so if you have any question about the Bitcoin, you can also post it on the comments box. I hope you are satisfied with my explanation and the views. So I'm still going to look bullish until the rule is broken, and then in the bearish case scenario, I already explained how I will perceive the things. So let's go and look Ether. So Ether is something which behaves much better as technical chart is concerned than Bitcoin currently. Why? A couple of things. So wave count invalidation, as you can see here on Ether, is much lower than on Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin Ether cross looks much better in favor of Ether. So let me just glare this. And on the other note, we can look for a couple of different scenarios here, because there is a space for it. In Bitcoin, there is not much space because the wave count invalidation is very, it's in a close proximity. But in Ether, we have almost 3 times the price needs to move down to actually go into the wave count invalidation. So this wave 4 has a kind of a room to vary a little bit around the scale. Here is almost ideal time ratio. So in the sense of the triple correction, if this turns out to be flat, I will look the same for the ending diagonal and the continuation in a further move on the upside in a possible wave 5, just a touch below these previous lows. We didn't have any wave count invalidation on the upside. It came very close, which will ease our work, but it didn't happen. As you can see, this price respected the rule, so we are still in a probability that we trace full 5-way move to the downside, but this one might also unfold as an ending diagonal pattern in the wave 4, and then the same scenario might happen in the beginning of the next movement on the upside. So let's see how that will happen. Ethereum Bitcoin cross looks pretty good. It's going according to our script that we presented before and to our members. So I did look for this one to look higher. We notified our members around here that this is a potential 1-2 and a bullish potential, either ABC or a full 5-way swing bullish structure. For now, we are still looking for a potential bullish development in a wave 1, either completed 2 or a little bit more downside. And then according to this chart, we still need to trace out a 5th wave move on the upside, which will put Ethereum more favored in a sense of a movement on the upside than the Bitcoin in the next cycle. Of course, we cannot forget that halving cycle is coming. So the big question here that many are posing now, is the halving cycle more important in a Bitcoin than liquidity in the system? I think it's a kind of a mix of both, if you ask me. Definitely in this crypto disaster, Bitcoin has distanced himself from other cryptos. I have seen many of the investors in Bitcoin trying to kind of separate Bitcoin from the rest of the crypto world because of the difference in the network and a difference in the particularities of the system, decentralized system, how the Bitcoin is functioning and how the rest of the cryptos are functioning because of the issuance of tokens and many other things. So definitely Bitcoin in that particular thing, I think it is different, and that's why the holders are trying to kind of a distance and separate Bitcoin from the rest of this mess that the crypto space has fallen. Every day we have some new news regarding the depth of the FTX destruction, his political and other ties. So there has been rumors that it has been just a kind of a money laundering scheme with a crypto wrapper or a kind of a sugar coating. So who knows what will be on the end. We will see if there's any viable investigation. Probably we will know truth in a couple of years. Grayscale also refused to give their current standings. We have a couple of exchanges also, BlockFi, I think, and a couple of others, or Crypto.com, and many others are in danger. Sorry if I pronounced any of them wrongly. Just my thoughts are here that there is many of these crypto businesses which are endangered with this collapse. So we will see when the mess is cleaned what will be left of the crypto space. So let's look a couple of other charts. If you have any questions regarding Ether or Bitcoin, although I think I've been very clear how do I perceive these two, we can look a couple of charts for you. So let me go into another feed that we have. Almost 60 cryptos that we track for our members. If you want also to join us, you can make a trial and go to tradinganalysis.com website and check us out. So let me show you a couple of charts which I think might be viable. So also Polkadot is something that we tracked for a long time on the short side. So the RSI is pretty low, and I think there is some type of a flat ongoing here. So we have a couple of support levels, and also I think that this matches a Bitcoin and Ether chart in this ending diagonal probability here. So there is a wave 1 and 2, down in 3, pullback in a wave 4, and now we have 3 waves down, 3 waves up, potentially another 3 waves down in a wave 3, 4, and 5. So that kind of matches the patterns that I'm looking also on the Ether and Bitcoin. But it's interesting in my eyes. Yeah, ADA, it's a pretty difficult chart because you can count it both ways. I will present you, I don't like particularly this wave count. If I want to be bullish on cryptos, I definitely need to look ADA as a corrective move. So this can be done with a little bit of kind of a not very clear pattern recognition things here. If you want to look this strictly from the Elliott Wave perspective, you can also count a 5-wave move here, okay? Which means that actually ADA is going to do some type of a pullback and then continue down, okay? So if we can put this into a perspective of some type of a 5-wave move. So if this is a wave 3, some triangulation in a wave 4, so some type of a wave 5 is developing. So we're going to have an ABC pullback around these levels. But if we look cryptos on let's say potentially on a positive side and a pause in yields, a little bit better liquidity, renewal of this crypto kind of renaissance after this disastrous slump, we might try to find and respect the overall higher kind of a time frame analysis and adjust our wave counts towards that. So if you do that in that respect, you will most likely look to this pattern development as a WXY, which will be a complex correction, and actually this will be a wave down in A, up in B, down in C. So we might be in the last sequence of these developments to the downside. And of course, on a smaller time frame, you need to see this 5-wave move and a pullback, something as a necessity to develop to actually describe a potential reversal signature. Okay, so definitely that will be something which will put ADA on a bullish wave count. So let me see a couple of other requests. Hi Alex, thanks for everything. Can we have a look at optimism? Yeah, I have explained my optimism look. So I'm still I'm not very much, and I have never been. If you look Crypto Lab from last 2 years, I never joined the sentiment optimism or pessimism. This is the two things of the opposite sides which I look to detect. And as we detected the highs where the optimism was on the biggest level in Bitcoin twice, actually. We did that, and I was very solitary in the crypto community, having only maybe 500 viewers, because this view was very unpopular and still is. So the objectivity is very much punished without any passion, I would say, towards any sides, so neutrality. I do tend to look sentiment only from the reversal sides. We have flashed that here and here sentiment is pretty crazy and pretty unfounded. So I'm not going to fall for the sentiment here in the different spectrum. So that's why I do published that chart on my Twitter, and that which is saying that bearish sentiment it's on its highs. So I'm not an optimist and pessimist in any of these things. I try to keep myself distance and look from a more objective point of view, at least as my possibilities allow me to. So the only thing I can say is that most likely the sentiment signature is here We just need to confirm a potential reversal on patterns, and then of course my observation of what is going on with the rates will help all of this hypothesis to basically confirm itself in the real world. FTM, pound dollar, this is a crypto stream. I can look pound dollar. I don't have a chart here. I have to open the chart, so let me look at it here. I don't think that it's still out of the woods, this looks still impulsively, but it still doesn't have a 5-wave move. So I think on a larger time frame, we still have some possibility that we are in some type of an ending diagonal still in making. So I'm not making any decision here. This still can reach some around these levels. Depends what the dollar will do and then collapse. If you have a 5 waves up here and then a pullback, that will be a complete reversal signature. So I'm not really decided on the pound dollar until I see a complete 5-wave move actually developed here. And for now, this will look something like this. So it needs to go a pretty large amount on the upside to actually give me some type of a confirmation that this was a reversal signature. Okay, so I'm still not sure. When in doubt, stay out. So I'm not rushing neither to buy euro dollar or pound dollar until I see a confirmation, or although, as I said on a previous macro themes, that we are, I think, in the last, if not already reversed dollar situation for the next couple of years. Okay. Let me look a couple of other things. Clay. I don't know what is clay. Band. I don't know what happened with that band. Can you tell me where I can find a chart with the more data? Band. This is bank. Band. Bandwidth. Band US dollar calculated by TradingView. I hope this is some type of a longer term chart. Looks like a 5-wave move, and then we have a 3-wave pullback. So if this is a move on the upside, a beginning move on the upside, we should see some type of a 5 waves. Very difficult, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I do not make any conclusions yet. I want to see a couple of these things broken. We broke the channel and turned back, so the middle channel line technically might provide some support, but for now I won't be sure that this is just a reversal. So what I will be looking for in band, if this is the proper chart, I will be looking break above 4.086 to have a more confirmation and the potential 5 waves up, and then I can look for a pullback for a possible exposure. So for now, I do not for now see this as a complete reversal confirmation just with this one large bar here, because we need to look a couple of other things. So move above this will definitely give us space to move it a little bit more in the higher regions without any significant resistance. So the next resistance will be this swing high, which is a smaller one, smaller of a nature, and this will be a bigger swing high, which will be a more serious resistance around 11, but that's very far from that. So let's not talk about that. Let's be more modest, as we should. So yeah, so just for you to glare to see. So we tried to move on the upside, we came back, we are doing some mumbo jumbo here. Let's see if this is going to touch the midline. Sometimes that is the deal. It goes up, it goes down, and then it reverses further on the upside. So for now, this doesn't give me much of a confidence over reversal, but it's still nice to see that some initiative on the upside. Okay, guys, so let's look one more and that's it. Let's see. I've seen some weird, not weird, but what is the FTM? What is the FTM swap contract? Bitfinex. Let's see if there is. Yeah, I don't see. Oh no, this is FTM Bitcoin. Where is the FTM dollar? Yeah, we looked for a C wave, so there is a 5 waves up. If you look this as a potential flat, we should be in the same type of development as in Ether and Bitcoin. So potentially some type of a ending diagonal here. So the big question is here, is that wave 5 finished here and we have some type of a flat? We are in the territory of the previous wave 4, which is a good thing as a support level. So I think we're going to go back and forth until we potentially do find some nice kind of a so let me see how this might go, somewhere around here, so around these levels, and then the subsequent price action will show us. So you can count fully 5 wave development. The question is, and in my opinion, potentially this is a part of a flat. If not, it doesn't change much. I mean, it changes in a sense of an overall couple of years outlook, but as in Bitcoin, as in Ether, even if this is beginning of a sequence to the downside, we're going to have a relatively large pullback in the ABC after this pattern is completed, either from here or a little bit more lower. So that is how do I see that currently. Of course, this changes, guys. I mean, you need to be vigilant. That's why I want to look higher time frames, because they're more reliable. I don't like to go on sometimes 10-15 minute charts but higher time frames give you a little bit more reliability, so that you don't have to switch from this wave count to that 5. Usually I present only 2 on top of the macro environment analysis and a couple of other things, which I think it's the most useful for members and you as well. What is good if I give you 10 wave counts? I mean, which one you're going to choose? I mean, that's a complete nonsense in my observation of this methodology. I'm only 15 plus years in it, so when somebody starts to present a couple of wave counts, I don't even look at that, because it doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, so let me look a couple of one more chart and that's it. It's holiday, it's Thursday, so let's have a holiday chart, Thanksgiving chart. Let me look. CTK. Let's see what is the CTK. CTK. I don't think I ever looked at this one. It's not yeah, I don't know. This is probably something new. Obviously, I didn't look at it before. It has some move on the upside gap. I cannot derive anything from it. I mean, you have just a kind of a big sideways action from these highs, and then maybe some ABCX down in A, up in B, down in C. So still, it's in a sideways move. So I don't usually, when I see this type of charts, I don't pay much attention to it until we break some crucial levels on the upside or on the downside. So nothing there. I mean, this is something usually which I will not. So even if you disregard this high as some type of a glitch and look this as a high of this move on the upside, even if you look this, it will be a wave A. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, and truncated fifth, and then you have a 5 waves down in A, up in B, down in C. So this is some type of a pause before a new downside comes. So for now, I will not be involved in a sense either of chart analyzing. So you have so many markets. So when I see this type of charts, I just go further. I don't have any probabilities in my observation how this might end, at least in this moment. Okay guys, so thank you very much for being with us on this Thanksgiving holiday. Crypto markets, there is no holidays, 24-hour 7 casino, 7 days a week. So of course, for some of us it's not a casino, it's a kind of a proportional, mathematical and psychological developments, but we are 24/7 open. So thank you very much for being with the Crypto Lab, featured by Trading Analysis. If you want to join us on this journey into the cryptos with a more sober and more earthly analysis and guidance, you can check us out at tradinganalysis.com. So once more, happy Thanksgiving, who is celebrating, and see you next week, guys. Click the like button and subscribe. If possible, it will help us, and stay well. Bye bye, guys.